We're going to start with prayer, and I know one of them behind me. So, Father Moses, would you lead us in prayer? I wanted to mention as we're getting started that, just by way of introduction, that I remember the first time that Sojourner Michaila, now her name, baptismal name, I remember the first time that we ever went into an Orthodox church, and all of a sudden she was sitting there going, oh. I was looking at her going, what's wrong? She was like overwhelmed by all of the icons. And as we continued to pray, it was all of a sudden she was like zoned out. And what happened was that she experienced this reality of the icons actually being windows of heaven. So what took place is that she was seeing the Archangel Michael and the Archangel Gabriel and the Mother of God and Jesus, and all of a sudden it was like she was just right there with them. And so when we got home, she goes, that's for me. And I had been studying, and going through all of this head stuff and reading this book and trying to figure it out and asking this question. Still haven't got it. As a result of that, though, Michaila, she was just right there. She goes, I don't care what you do. I know where I'm going. And so as a result of that, she's been a real inspiration to me. And this is my wife and partner. And so I'm going to introduce you to Michaila. She's going to give a talk on Sojourner Truth.
Trying to give a talk on Sojourner Truth. What you doing that line? Okay, I won't. Well, I had a short time to prepare this, so bear with me. I will start with when she was born. She was born in 1797, a slave named Isabella, and she was born in New York, and she was freed in 1827, and she chose the name by which she has been remembered long after her death, Sojourner Truth. She was a preacher, she was an abolitionist and an activist for the rights of both the black and women, and although she couldn't read or write, she could quote the Bible word for word, and she was a powerful speaker. I mean, she would go and she would speak, and people would listen, and some people had respect for her, and some didn't. And she was 6 feet tall, and some people thought she was a man, others thought she was an animal. And she had a profound faith in God and a love for God, and she had a deep, rich voice, and she would speak, and she would just stir audience, just everywhere. Thousands of people would just, they would just listen, and they would just be awestruck at this simple lady speaking and reaching out to people, and they understood her, even though it was simple. And she, the talk was simple, and she didn't. Her grammar wasn't very well, but they understood because it was coming from her heart, the heart of God, so she could reach people. And she spoke from her heart, and people would just listen. They would just sit on the edge of their seats and listen at this lady, and they was the whites and blacks. She spoke to white and she spoke to blacks. And she spoke on slavery. She spoke against slavery, which made a lot of people hate her too. And sometimes some of the people would just come to tears, and they would grow to hate slavery. It was so profound. It just God was radiating from this lady. It was like God was in heaven, but God was coming out through this lady, through her words and through her action, the way she was, even though she was a very simple person. And she had her children had been took from her, and she had fought hard to get her children back. I mean, really hard. One of the songs, they made him lie and said he didn't want to go with his mother. She went to court. I mean, this lady went to court. She fought. She fought a good battle. And I don't remember everything, but I'm just giving you some of the things I remember. And they would lie to her, and you know, she went to a lawyer, and she had some white people helping her that had bought her and to get out of slavery. And they would tell her what to do and who to go to help her to get her children, get her son back. But she finally got him back, but he had been beat so bad, and you know, till he didn't want to come home. But then she was beat and stoned, and you know, it was just awesome the stuff she went through. I don't think I could endure that. And you know, as the years passed, she became one of the best known women, black women in the world. I mean, they talked about this woman everywhere. I mean, she was well known for her powerful speeches, for her belief and her faith in God. The one thing that kept her going was her faith. Her parents raised her in the faith. Her mother said, for one thing, you can always remember, if you call on God, He'll hear you. No matter what the circumstances, He will hear you. And her father was a lot older than her mother, but I'm not doing this all in the way, you know, but I'm just going. And so she was raised, her mother raised the children in the faith. There was quite a few children in her family, but she was the one that stood out the most because she was the biggest, and she was the one that would speak out against, if a thing was wrong, she would speak out. She didn't care what happened, she would speak out. She would tell you this isn't right, and she would say slavery isn't right. God did not mean for people to be slaves. He meant for every man to live free. He meant for every man to live as brothers. If and every woman, we have to have love. No matter what color you are, you have to have love. And this is what she taught. This is what she, the way she was raised. That love is the thing that carries you through. You love your enemies. No matter what they do to you, you love them. President Lincoln even invited her to the White House. I mean, this lady, she went to the White House, she met with him, and he, you know, she spoke up to him about slavery, and I guess maybe that helped motivate him. I'm not sure. But then, and it was just really profound. And I mean, reading her life is kind of awestruck. I don't even feel worthy to stand up here and try to attempt to, you know, to talk about this lady because she was so holy. I mean, she was a godly, holy woman. Back in the 1800s, when blacks were considered as nothing, that they listened to this lady, a black woman, would get up and thousands of people would cry, and it was just awesome. It was just really awesome the way things went. And she I'm just kidding. Just bear with me. I'm just but anyway, she had, you know, and she had a friend. His name was Frederick, and you know, she would talk. He understood what she meant, and he would, you know, he would say God is not dead, and slavery can only end in blood. But she said no, slavery can be ended without violence. She believed that they could end slavery without violence, and that was her belief. You know, her faith. You couldn't take that away from it. She died believing that slavery could be ended without violence and without people losing their life, and that's some kind of faith. And that, you know, women didn't have a say so then because they was considered as, you know, you listen and the man talk. But I guess the reason everybody listened to her is because of the Lord. They could see God in her. When she spoke about God. You know, everything was about God. She didn't put man in front of God. God was everything to her. He just meant everything to her. And her husband was an old man. He died. But this lady was just awesome. Just a great lady. And she by her not being able to read, she had to rely on God. She had to rely on other people to write stuff for her, and if they didn't write the truth, but that was, that's between them and God. She didn't worry about that. She just did what the Lord told her to do, and she went through all over the world. She went all over the world and speaking out against injustice, not only to blacks, but to people, to women. She spoke out against the way they were treating women, white women, black. She didn't care. She just spoke out against that women have a place in society. Women have rights. God made a woman to be a helpmate to a man. She didn't say this in this word, these are my words, but that's what she meant, that God meant for us to walk alongside of the man, not for the man to put us in the back and say, okay, we'll see you later. She spoke for the rights of women. And I guess that's what helped today, I think, helped brought us to where we are now, because this lady was fighting back in the 1800s for the rights of women and for the rights of the blacks and the rights of anybody that was in bondage. Black, white, green, yellow. She was for anybody that was being oppressed and beat down. And that's something to say for that lady. And across her chest, she just nonstop, she went, she would just go. And across her chest, she wore a banner that said, liberty throughout the land to all people. All people, not her people. All are God's people. Everybody. And that's to me, it just makes me want to cry, to know that back then it was somebody the Lord was using to speak out for the world, for everybody. And, well, that's a short talk. And so he wanted me to say a little about me, how I became Orthodox, how I became a Christian. I met the Lord at the age of 3 years old. Don't ask me how I know that. I don't know. I don't have any idea. All I know is was a presence that would take care of me when I would have to go under our house and hide, and I would feel a presence of peace. I could go to sleep. So I met the Lord when I was 3. I know that I was supposed to be a missionary, and I was only 3 years old. Nobody didn't believe me, but I know. And so it was kind of weird. But then I grew up in a dysfunctional family. A lot of fights. My father had to leave, and my mother was, she drank a lot, and my grandmother drank a lot, and my aunt drank a lot. But through it all, they taught us about the Lord still. We had to go to church. We was in church more than we was home, because I was raised in the South. And we would have, they call them prayer meetings, the night watches where you stay up all night and pray. We would, the children included, all the kids just killed out on the floor and go to sleep. So I was raised up in the church. I was raised up knowing about God, but then I went back and went into the world when I got grown, and then the Lord called me back in 1979. I became a non-denominational Christian. But then our church broke up, so I went back into the world, and I met David, and he prayed me back to the Lord. But when we had started reading these Catholic prayer books about 8 years ago, reading the Catholic prayer books, and I just had a terrible time with Mary. I mean, I couldn't deal with the part about Mary. I just couldn't handle it. Everything else, I couldn't handle the part about Mary. Being ignorant, and not knowing. That Mary was God's mother. I know she was God's mother, but I didn't realize that I was supposed to reverence her like I did my own mom. So I said, oh, no. Because I had been to a Catholic church with my cousin, and they worshiped Mary at this church. And I said, I'm not getting into that stuff. But anyway, that wasn't right. So we tried our Episcopal prayer book, and that was better, a little better. But Mary was still there. I couldn't get Mary out. So I said, oh, well, okay, let's just live with this. But then, so I decided I was going to live with it. If it's wrong, then God knows I'm doing all I can to live for Him. And if I'm wrong, it's not my fault because I didn't write it. So I can justify everything. I know how to justify everything. But anyway, that's the way I justified that. And then we went to an Orthodox church, and it was like, I really can't describe it, but I walked in the door, and I know I was standing in that room, but then I was gone 2 hours. It was like, I'm here, and I was there, all at one time. All at the same time. It was like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. But I was still in that room because I could see him standing beside me. And he goes, oh, what's the matter? And I was, through the whole service, that's the way I was. I know that I was supposed to become Orthodox. And I didn't even know what Orthodox meant. I know nothing about Orthodox, nothing. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. We went to California, went to Patina, and that just capped it off for sure. This is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And as a black person, venerating icons was no problem for me. I didn't have no problem doing that. None at all. I didn't have any problem asking the saints to pray to God for me. Because coming from a black background, we know about all that stuff anyway. We already know it. It's just you forget, you don't put it in the practice. I know about it years ago, but growing up and people tell you one thing, you start thinking, well, maybe you're living a lie. Maybe that's a lie you say no really happen. But they do. So I became Orthodox, praise the Lord, and I am very happy, and I love it. And with that, oh, yeah.
Question. Tell them, do me a favor. Maybe everybody else has heard the story, but could you just tell the story about the cat and the lizard?
Well, anyway, last July we went to St. Pius Abbott to school for 31 days, and I didn't want to go. I just said I just don't want to go because I have a hard time breathing. I said I can't walk a lot. I just don't want to go. But some people that's very persistent, called and made arrangements for me to go. So I didn't have too much choice. But when I got there, I know I wasn't going to learn nothing because I just know that I wasn't supposed to be going to no school. What the Lord took me there for was to break my old stony heart, see. Because I could see somebody getting boom, and I wouldn't cry. I was just, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to them. But that was it. But whilst I was there, it was just little bit of words would be said, and I would cry. I cried so much, I didn't think I was going to get home. I cried, and Father Herman always said, oh, Sister Michaila, oh, forgive me for doing you wrong. Oh, forgive me for inconvenience. And I would cry, because he wasn't doing nothing to me. I would just cry. Like really weird. But anyway, I put a lady, I went to wash, and this lady had a blouse in the washing machine, so I took it out, and I put it in the dryer. And that stuff don't bother me, putting nobody's clothes in the dryer. I don't care what they say. But she said, oh, I didn't want that dried. And I cried so hard because I really hurt her feelings. And she was hugging me and said, no, you didn't hurt my feelings. This little thing would make me cry because I was hurting people's feelings. I really realized all the hurt I had caused people. So we left there and we went down to Chino, California. That stupid cat. I will never forget that cat. We were sitting on the porch, getting ready to eat, and this cat was playing with something over here. And at first I wondered, what is this silly cat doing? I'm allergic to cats anyway. What is that silly cat doing? And I looked down, he had a little lizard. I mean, it was a little lizard about this long. And that stupid cat would take the lizard and he would put him in his mouth, take him around. He would let him go, and his lizard would run. He would run and put his feet on him and put his back in his mouth, take him around. And I sit there, and this is true. I actually started crying because that stupid cat was tormenting that lizard. Yeah. And I got up and took the lizard from the cat. And I mean, I never done that kind of stuff before. Not ever in my life would I ever dream of letting something like that bother me. And the cat was looking at me, and I would kick the cat out the way. It was just really weird that he was tormenting that little lizard. I never thought of that. What was going on in my mind? What is that lizard thinking about? Why that stupid cat had him in his mouth, shaking him around like that, like they come to your mind. And I went, what in the world is that lizard thinking about? That stupid cat won't go on and kill him. He tormented. I could have stood if he'd have killed the lizard. But no, he had to play with him and take him around and let him go. And the poor little guy, he was so afraid. The last time he ran, and the cat caught him, and they put him down. He just froze. He wouldn't move until I moved him where the cat couldn't get him. Then he disappeared. And that was something else. Yeah.
How did you get used to the idea of marriage?
Oh, that. Well, how did I get used to the idea of marriage? I don't read, but I pray. And I expect the Lord to answer me when I pray. And I wanted to know, why should I rather marry? And what came into my mind is that she's my mother, and you reverence my mother, you reverence people, your elders. I'm going, okay, so I'll reverence Mary, I'll venerate an icon, no problem. The only time I argued with the Lord when he told me to marry David. I put up arguments. I argued for a week. I said, no, I'm not doing it, I won't do it. I'm not doing it. And he just didn't say nothing, so.
You said in your background you knew about veneration of calling on saints.
Well, I didn't know about venerating them, but I know that I had heard my grandmother and them praying to people, and I know they were dead. Not praying to them, but they were just, well, they moan a lot, see, so the thing about it, they did a lot of moaning, a lot of groaning, but yeah.
Often tragically, in the Black tradition, believe, as I suppose they do in others, that our right-believing ancestors are in heaven praying for us. So sometimes people talk.
Yeah, they talk. I mean, they would sit up and talk. I thought maybe it's kind of crazy, but so I know about that stuff before.
What about icons? You said that you also were familiar with that before you came to Orthodoxy. In a way.
Well, we had icons, but me and David had icons, but the older peoples with pictures of their mothers and grandmothers, and they wasn't icons, but they was they would have them. Some of them was in wooden frames and stuff like that, and they said these were saints, So they would tell you these were saints. These were godly people. See, I had a great grandmother was a full blood church. She was a godly woman. As far as I'm concerned, she was a saint because I never saw her say a cross word to anybody. I never saw her hurt people feeling. I mean, this was a godly woman. She would say, if you got mad at somebody, go somewhere and pray. And this is the way she was. She wore a head wrap. I never saw her hair. She wore long dresses, long sleeve dresses. Hey, she never had running water, and this was in the 20th century. She never had running water, like a restroom, nothing like this. She never had gas. She never had light. She used lamp and wood burning stoves, and she had an outhouse in the 20th century, back in the 50s and the 60s. So she prayed a lot. She did a lot of praying. So I was raised up in prayer. If I went the wrong way, it wasn't because I wasn't taught the right way. I went that way on my own. And it was just, she would tell us about the slaves and stuff like that. She was 13 when they freed the slaves. She died in 1968, but she was real old. And she had all of her own teeth but one. And she hadn't ever been to the doctor. And when they took her to the doctor, she died. Never went to the doctor, never. She would go out in the field and get stuff. You know, when we would get sick, she would go and get stuff out of. She used nature stuff to heal. You know, she raised her own food. She didn't believe in going to the store and buying all that stuff. So I was just raised different.
There's a particular phenomenon that occurred in the 20s and 30s. I still have some of those prints myself, and they were, I guess you could call them iconographic sketches of angels and the evangelists. And they were in most homes, particularly rural homes, rural country homes. So it's very possible that you did see like that.
Yeah, because someone was painted. They did see, and they painted stuff. And my great grandma, they painted. They didn't have, black folks didn't have camels. The Indians didn't either, because they didn't have that either. And it looked like some of this stuff was painted. Right now, you know, I don't remember, it was been so long ago. But it was on this wood. And I know you can't put a picture, well, I didn't think you could, into the wood like that. So I was Mr. One, and they would draw it on there, or paint on there some kind of, but it was all in black and white. So. You got to it all? Okay. Take me a leave. Thank you.